everyone. Welcome back for day 2 of our article on 小琉球. I'm Kat.
I'm Reese.
And today we are talking about this cute little island that is in the south of Taiwan, off the coast of Pingtung County.
Yeah, it's South Taiwan's island escape. It's a really beautiful island. I've been there. Kat has not yet been there.
Not yet.
But she's planning a trip soon one day, hopefully.
Yes, it's on my list.
And yesterday we learned about 小琉球's geography, for some interesting aspects of its landscape. It's got some cool rocks that look like mice or vases, right?
That's right. And they're weathered by the sun and the wind and the ocean water. And it's a coral island. So we learned that it's formed by coral reefs that rose out of the ocean.
Yeah, and it's a really good place to, spoiler alert, see some interesting wildlife.
That's right. So we're going to talk a little more about that in today's part of the article. But first, we're going to go through a little bit of history, which might be a little more serious, but it doesn't mean it's all going to be that way. So why don't we get right into it and take a look.
Reading.
Xiaoliuqiu, South Taiwan's island escape. Near Xiaoliuqiu's southern end, Black Devil Cave has a terrible past. Stories say that many of the island's first residents, who were from the Soraya Tribe, were killed there. Sadly, there have been no Soraya on Xiaoliuqiu for hundreds of years now. Although the island's Soraya culture has disappeared, much of its wildlife survives. Green turtles are one example. Over 160 of these wonderful animals live around the island. To get the best view of these creatures, you can go on a snorkeling tour and watch them swim around the colorful coral. Just under 1,100 other animals live in Xiaoliuqiu's waters, so there's always something interesting to see. Lastly, the beaches are too good to miss. Secret Beach and Zhongao Beach have beautiful golden sand and clear water. At the day's end, head to Sunset Pavilion. It's the best place to watch the sky turn red and gold. It'll make you happy to be in Xiaoliuqiu, and you'll want to come again.
All right, our article starts out today by saying, near Xiaoliuqiu's southern end, Black Devil Cave has a terrible past. I said it was going to be serious, and I kind of meant it, so we start out with a little bit of a grim sentence saying that this cave has a terrible past. So before we can learn what the terrible past is, we got to learn about its name a little bit. Now, we have black, the color black, and then you have the word devil. And so the word devil can be, kind of associated with the word black because devil means an evil spirit or an evil kind of ghost. We also have the word the devil. If you ever hear something called the devil, that is referring to the most powerful evil spirit for people who believe in Christianity, Islam, or Judaism. And he's basically the king of hell, which is where bad people go. So that's the devil. But if you call somebody a devil or talk about different devils, then it's not that one spirit, but a lot of other smaller evil spirits. It's also common to call naughty kids or naughty people little devils. It's not a very serious thing. It's kind of like, oh, you causing trouble, you little devil. You're so silly, that kind of thing. It's a less serious thing, but this is talking more about the ghost and evil kind of devil. So an example could be, the old woman believed that devils were trying to harm her at night, so she put a cross near her bed. And we have this other word, cave, the Black Devil Cave. A cave is a large hole in the earth that was formed by natural processes. Like it could probably be the ocean that went into the rock and carved out a big hole, or it could be a volcano that the lava flowed through the earth and caused these big tubes to form. So a cave can be formed a lot of different ways, but they're basically big holes underground in the side of a cliff or the side of a hill or something like that. And people like to go into them because they're interesting and they might have things hidden inside them, like old living spaces or weird animals or rock formations again. So caves are really interesting places to explore, and that's why a lot of tourists might go there. So an example sentence could be, this cave goes deep into the earth, and many people like to explore it with their flashlights.
I love exploring caves.
Me too.
I think most countries have caves. Even the UK has some caves.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Yeah, and sometimes they can be kind of spooky because they're dark and they have ghost stories and stuff.
Yeah.
The article explains, stories say that many of the island's first residents, who were from the Soraya Tribe, were killed there. Sadly, there have been no Soraya on Xiaoliuqiu for hundreds of years now. So that's the terrible story that the article was referring to, the murder of people who lived there.
That's right.
Let's talk about a few of these words. Firstly, it's the word resident. So it says that many of the residents were killed. Resident is a noun, and a resident is a person who lives in a place. If you live in your house, you are a resident there. So the people that live on Xiaoliuqiu are residents of the island. In a legal sense, we use the term resident to talk about somebody who is legally allowed to stay in a country. Kat and I know a lot about this word because if you're not from Taiwan, you need to apply to be a resident here.
That's right.
You can be a resident of a building, a city, a country, or a resident of planet Earth. We also have the word tribe, which is also a noun, and a tribe is a group of people in a traditional society who are related through family or social relationships. Tribes are often small, and they spend their whole lives together like one big family. They'll usually speak the same language and have the same culture. Tribes are not so common nowadays. People live in bigger groups in society, like in cities. But in some places, you might still find people living in tribes, usually in places far away from big cities, like in our example sentence. Some tribes still live deep in the Amazon rainforest and speak unique languages.
All right, so one of the tribes that we're talking about here is the Soraya tribe, and they were killed in this cave. I believe it was Dutch people who were taking revenge for an earlier murder of a couple of their crewmen, or actually a ship full of their crewmen, and they said the tribe's people killed the Dutch people, and so they were like, well, we're going to kill all of you. So they killed more than 300 of them in that cave. They basically burned something outside there so that the smoke went in the cave and all the people suffered and they got smoked to death. It was really sad. Although the island's Soraya culture has disappeared, much of its wildlife survives. So the Soraya are no longer on Xiaoliuqiu. There are other places in Taiwan where they still exist, but the wildlife on Xiaoliuqiu is doing pretty well. It's surviving. And we have although that comes up again. Now, we saw this in day one. We saw that it's a contrasting conjunction that we used either at the start of a sentence or the middle of a sentence. And it shows that even though one thing is true, another thing that's not like it can also be true. So another example might be, although I don't usually like salad, this one was very tasty. So although the Soraya people are not there, the wildlife is. So wildlife is a word that we use to talk about the animals that live in nature, especially in a certain place. You might think it's used to talk about animals and plants, but we usually just use it to talk about animals, like wild animals that are not owned by people, not always around people. They might live on their own. That's wildlife. And so what they are doing here on Xiaoliuqiu, they are surviving. To survive means to remain alive. It's a verb that means to continue to live or to exist. And it's talking about usually doing this after or in spite of things that make it difficult for you to live. So if you survive an illness, maybe that illness threatened to kill you, but you kept living, you survived. Or if you survive a storm, that storm was very dangerous, but you stayed alive and your house is okay, maybe. But these animals are surviving. They're still doing well, although there might be things that make it hard, like human settlements, maybe, tourists being bad, something like that. They're still surviving. So an example sentence could be, this species might not survive if people keep hunting it for meat.
Oh dear. Well, let's hope we're not hunting the animal that we're about to talk about because they are gorgeous.
They're great.
And it's something that Xiaoliuqiu is very famous for, and I saw them with my own eyes. The article says green turtles are one example. Over 160 of these wonderful animals live around the island. To get the best view of these creatures, you can go on a snorkeling tour and watch them swim around the colorful coral.
Aw, that sounds so nice.
It is nice, and I did exactly that when I was there, and I was shoulder to shoulder with sea turtles.
Oh my gosh.
Or green turtles.
Were you allowed to touch them?
No, I don't
I didn't think so.
I don't know if you're allowed, but I don't want to touch them.
I snorkeled in Hawaii with green turtles as well, and you were not allowed to even get a meter close to them.
Yeah, I don't think you need...
They're protected.
We don't need to touch them. You can just watch them from a distance.
Yeah.
There are some words here to talk about. The first word is creatures, and it's kind of related to wildlife. Creature is a noun, and a creature is an animal or something that's alive that we can't really identify or we don't want to or need to be specific about. Any animal is a creature, including us, so we can use this word to talk about animals in general. In horror stories or in scary movies, we might use the word creature to talk about a scary monster too. Here's an example sentence. If you go camping in the woods, you should expect to spend the night close to many creatures.
Ooh.
Not in a scary way, just, there are bugs and frogs and wolves.
Bears.
Okay, that's kind of scary.
And deer.
Yeah, the deer are definitely going to eat you.
I've seen bears and deer while camping before.
Bears is definitely scary.
Yeah.
We also saw the word snorkeling, which is used as a noun here, and it's when you swim in the sea wearing a mask and a special breathing tube. The tube sticks out of the water so you can breathe while you look at the fish below. You can't dive underwater with a snorkel, though, because the top part of the tube needs to stay above the surface so that you can still breathe. If you want to go diving underwater, you might need to go scuba diving. Mm-hmm. We also have the word colorful, which is an adjective, and it means full of bright colors or has many different colors. Some fish can be very colorful. A rainbow is a colorful thing. You can wear colorful clothes if you want to express yourself. And at nighttime in Taipei, some of the streets get really colorful with different neon lights. An example sentence could be, kids' shows are often very colorful as young children like to watch bright colors.
That's true, and I think they would probably like the colors of the coral around Xiaoliuqiu as well.
So we talked about snorkeling just now. Do you like snorkeling, Kat?
I do. I haven't been snorkeling in a very long time, but I have been snorkeling before, and I've even snorkeled with green sea turtles before, like I said. So it's, I think it's a great activity. If you are not trained to do diving, it's a good alternative because anybody of any age can do it. You kind of have to be careful because if you forget that your tube is out of the water, you could, swallow some seawater and it'll be really bad for your stomach and not feel good and you might throw up.
Yeah. It happens, like, you're definitely going to get a little bit of salt water in your mouth.
Ugh. Or in your eyes if the mask doesn't seal properly.
Yeah, but you're right. It's an easy and fun and safe way, especially if you're wearing a life jacket, to take a look at the wildlife under the sea.
That's right.
Without interrupting it.
That's right. I even went snorkeling with manta rays in Hawaii on a night dive.
That's cool.
Because you can shine flashlights, big flashlights, down into the water to attract their favorite food, which is plankton, and they will come and do somersaults under you. And these rays are the size of a car.
That's crazy.
It's quite scary, honestly, but it's kind of exciting.
I went snorkeling in the Philippines and we saw whale sharks.
Oh my gosh.
Which are more like whales than sharks.
Yeah, they're huge.
They are the biggest fish in the world.
They also like to eat plankton.
They do, and they're super friendly. They're very curious about humans. And, I mean, if their tail smacks into you, it could hurt you.
Yeah.
But if you stay a safe distance away, you can look at these giant creatures. Because you've got your goggles and your breathing tube. It's just an amazing experience. So
I would love to do that sometime.
Snorkeling and scuba diving, if you're trained, are great ways to appreciate this underwater world, which we spend most of our lives,
out of,
far away from.
Yeah. So we get 160 sea turtles around the island. And that doesn't sound like a lot, but for one small island, I think that's a lot of turtles.
It's a lot. It's pretty easy to see them as well if you go swimming.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. So, as well as that, the article says just under 1,100 other animals live in Xiaoliuqiu's waters. So there's always something interesting to see. That sounds really cool. And so we have this language in focus today, something interesting. We use a pronoun like anybody, everyone, something, and so on with an adjective. That means that a thing that is this adjective. So there's something interesting means there's a thing that is interesting or an interesting thing. So if you will say something interesting to see, you want to say this with there is, to say that some things are interesting but kind of in a less awkward way. This is a kind of grammar where we use adjectives that put them after a pronoun, like something with some or any or every, and then one or thing or where, change out as you need to. And that's called a post-positive adjective, an adjective that comes after the noun. So for one example, there's something strange about this food. It tastes too sweet. So something strange instead of saying there's a strange thing about this food. Another example, we need someone organized, someone who is organized, to do this job for us. Or another one, Josh loves everything musical. He is always listening to new songs or playing different instruments.
Okay, well, back to the article. It says, lastly, the beaches are too good to miss. Secret Beach and Zhongao Beach have beautiful golden sand and clear water. Yeah, I went to Secret Beach. And
is it very secret?
It kind of is. Like, you kind of have to walk through the woods down this hidden path to get to the beach. And that's where I saw the turtles swimming.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was really, really special.
That's cool.
And I went there during, I think it was like around Lunar New Year time, and it wasn't busy at all.
Wow.
Because I think in the winter, people don't tend to go there as much.
Is it cold though?
No, it was like I was still swimming, Maybe I'm British, so I don't feel the cold so bad, but it was perfect for me.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, we have this phrase here to talk about, which is really positive. It's too good to miss. If something is too good to miss, that thing is so good that you shouldn't miss it. This thing will be such a good experience that you definitely need to do it. If you do miss it, you might regret it. For example, the beef noodles in Taipei are too good to miss. You've got to try them.
All right. So we hear about the beaches, we hear about the rock formations, Black Devil Cave, the coral, the snorkeling, all of that sort of thing. And the article finishes up by saying, at the day's end, head to Sunset Pavilion. It's the best place to watch the sky turn red and gold. It'll make you happy to be in Xiaoliuqiu, and you'll want to come again.
Wow, I did that too.
Oh.
Sunset Pavilion is really nice to sit there with, with a drink and your friends and just watch the sunset. It's very romantic.
Really nice. Oh, I think I'll probably go with my girlfriend and we'll probably watch the sunset there.
It's very, very nice. And then at nighttime, you can go and have some 热炒. Some nice fried food. And they have a lot of good seafood there too, if you like that.
Oh, well, I don't eat seafood, but I'm sure that there are other people who would appreciate that. All right. So that's all we've got on Xiaoliuqiu. So we hope you've enjoyed learning about it with us. And for now, we're going to go to our For You chat.
For You chat.
Okay, today's For You chat question. Xiaoliuqiu is popular for its nature. Do you think it is easy to take care of the island? Why or why not?
If you're talking about taking care of it in terms of taking care of its nature and making sure it stays safe and healthy, I think it must be kind of difficult because it's very popular with tourists and a lot of people don't observe the whole leave no trace thing that people are supposed to do with nature. Like you're supposed to leave natural places better than you found them.
Yeah.
It's supposed to look like you were never there. And a lot of people are just really careless.
They just leave their trash lying around.
They expect that somebody else is going to clean it up. It's like, no, there's nobody else to clean it up. You should do it. Be responsible. So if you guys are going to go to 小琉球 or any other natural place like this, please be mindful. Remind the adults around you to also be mindful of their trash, of anything that they're leaving behind. You know, leave the natural world a beautiful place. Not everybody is going to be able to clean up after you. You got to clean up after yourself.
Yeah, taking care of these places is the responsibility partially of the government, but also of us, you know. Yeah. We can just make sure that we're mindful travelers, that we're not affecting the nature around us. We can look, we can observe, but we should not interfere.
That's right.
And the governments can also do more to make more regulations or, you know, assign more people to work on these islands to help keep them safe and clean for the animals that live there. It's really, really important. And it's not just 小琉球, you know, it's every island or natural place around the world.
Exactly. Like, a lot of different places need protection. If we want 小琉球 to continue being beautiful, we need to make sure it's taken care of in every way possible.
Exactly. Well, that's all the time we have for our two-day article about 小琉球. We hope you're inspired to visit this island if you haven't already been. Maybe
I certainly am.
Yeah, we could maybe convince our bosses to take us there on a work trip.
Heck yes.
It's a research trip. That's why we're going.
Yeah, of course, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, so...
Maybe we'll see you there.
Yeah, we'll see you there. So for English for You, I'm Kat.
And I'm Reese.
We'll see you next time.
See you.
Bye.
Vocabulary Review.
Devil. Some people say that ghosts live in this house. One person even said they once saw a devil here. Cave. There are paintings on the inside walls of some caves. They were painted by very early humans. Tribe. The U.S. has many Native American tribes, and each of them has its own culture. Survive. When COVID-19 became a problem, some businesses had to depend on delivery services just to survive. Creature. This forest is home to a number of creatures, such as black bears and foxes. Colorful. Kristen likes colorful clothes. You can often see her wearing orange, yellow, and pink.
智慧小补帖
Resident. Wildlife. Snorkeling.
以上节目是由活用空中美语制作，活用空中美语杂志，请洽询全国各大书店。如欲索取试听教材，请来电02-2364-4000 02-2364-4000，或上网查询，网址是 www.english4u.net www.english4u.net